Hey guys, it's Megan from Mighty Nurse Megan, and this is my Q&A. So I asked you guys on Instagram to send me some questions that you wanted me to answer during a Q&A, and I decided to film it. So I have no experience with like YouTube and making vlogs or making videos, but I thought it would be a cool, fun experience, and I'd give it a try. So here it goes. Okay, so the first question was, what was my favorite class during nursing school? My favorite class in nursing school based on like coursework and like studying was my OB rotation, and I really just like maternity health and women's health and learning about all the babies and how they just come is amazing. But then my favorite course based on like experiences and learning would be my mental health rotation, because my teacher taught it in a very interesting and inclusive way, and she actually allowed all her students to like bond for the first time, even though we'd been together for 4 years at that point. So there's that. The second question was, what was my favorite experience as a nurse? So my favorite experience so far was when I was doing my peds rotation and I got to bond with this sweet little 4-year-old boy and actually like make some changes in his life. He was in one of the pediatric like cages, if you've seen them. They're little beds, and it was problematic for him. It just brought back terrors, so I was able to actually advocate for him to get a taller bed, and he was like one-on-one, so having a normal bed was fine for him. Let's see, what else? What's my dream unit to work on? Coming out of nursing school, I had really no idea what type of nurse I wanted to be. I've always thought maybe I would go into OB because I really liked learning about OB. And then I really had like thoughts of oncology as well. And the emergency room was cool too. So I had like all these little feelers out there for everything. And I just decided God would place me where I was meant to be, or give me those opportunities that I would need to grow and discover what I needed. So for me, I don't really have a dream unit per se. I guess it's more of a, I want a place to work where I will have really good teamwork and opportunities for growth. How did I keep myself busy after I sent in my application for nursing school? So for me, my nursing school was a part of my 4-year college university experience. So my freshman year, I was doing prerequisites to apply for nursing school, and the application I think was submitted sometime after December. So it was like we came back from winter break and submitted our applications for nursing school, and then we would find out by the end of that year, so we could register for classes next fall. So I really didn't have a problem with waiting for my application results because I was busy doing schoolwork and completing courses. Whereas I know other people, it's you finish your prereqs and then you apply, so you have that gap period. I never had that gap period, but I guess if you're in that position, I would just suggest maybe finding like really good books to read, or volunteering at a hospital, or taking extra courses. I don't know. I didn't really have that problem. Let's see. What else? Did I work through nursing school, and if so, what did I do? So yes, I did work through nursing school. I did a couple of different things. I had my CNA license was I was a senior in high school. So I came into nursing school already having my license, so I was able to work as a CNA, and I primarily did that on breaks outside of school or like weekends that I came home to see my family. And then actually at school I did student working there. So I worked in my school's mailroom, which was really fun, and it taught me a lot of like communication experiences and how to be a team, as well as how to train new hires. So that was really exciting. And then my last year at school, I worked in my nursing skills room, and it was a skills instructor for our sophomore nursing students. So I taught them Foley's, your head to toe assessments, how to take vital signs, what else, sterile gloving. So basically your standard groundwork for nursing. What did I want to be as a kid? Did you always want to be a nurse? And where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Well, that is a heavy question. So as a kid, I think I primarily remember wanting to be a teacher. I think every kid wants to be a teacher, but that's what sticks out in my brain. And did I always want to be a nurse? So I didn't know I didn't always want to be a nurse. Nursing wasn't something that was on my radar until like junior or senior year in high school. I'd always liked science and was interested in like the human body and that type of thing. And then my primary doctor, when I was discussing like my schoolwork, probably because my mom was bragging about me, or you know how parents are, and I think he suggested that I should like become a doctor. And I was like, yeah, that seems really cool. And then I started looking into it, and I did not want to go through that schooling. I mean, it's different when you're a nurse because you can have those breaks and you can actually like work and kind of feel rewarded for it and then go back if that's something you want to do. So I think that's kind of why I chose nursing. And I also chose nursing because you get more of the patient care and relationships that you build, and that's something that's really important to me. And so yeah. And then where do I see myself in 5 to 10 years? 5 to 10 years, I'd probably be in master's school, if that's still a thing, or a doctorate, and then probably working as a charge nurse. I wouldn't want to go into like management just yet. I think I still want to stay on the floor working as a nurse. How did I decide on the nursing school that I attended, and how hard was it to get in? And what's the hardest thing about nursing school? So I applied to 2 local colleges near me that had 4-year degrees for nursing programs, and I pretty much I toured both of them. I got into both of them and I toured both of them, and then I chose based on my feelings when I toured and like what the nursing program had to offer. So I looked to make sure that I could graduate in 4 years without any like delays, and that like I got good financial aid, and that they had like higher level technology. So I looked for simulation rooms that I could graduate in 4 years, and then the level, like the number of hospital rotations and clinical hours I would get to experience. And I chose my school based on having all of those criteria. And then when I visited, the community just made me feel really welcome and at peace and somewhere that I could see myself. So that's how I chose my nursing school. And then how hard was it to get in? I think there was maybe like 120 of that were pre-nursing, and then we all just applied, and I think they took 80 of us. I'm not exactly sure. And then or maybe they took 100 of us, and we graduated with a class of 80 or 75. Some people dropped out. They discovered nursing wasn't for them. They went and did something else. Some people dropped out just because of grades, and they weren't being able to like pass classes and succeed. And some took like gap years. So I don't really know how hard it was for my nursing school just because I went to a university. So, and then the last question, what was the hardest thing about nursing school? I think the hardest thing about nursing school was adjusting to the tests. Like, you've taken tests before and you have your own study strategy and you can pretty much apply that to any subject. But then when I got to like a nursing exam, it was and I want to say way difficult or more difficult, but it was challenging because it's not like a knowledge question. It's more of an application. Did you understand the material, and now are you able to apply it? So I think that was the biggest challenge for me, was learning how to study and adjusting that. And then I had a question about how do I study. So let me look that up real quick. I'm checking my Instagram for your guys' questions in case you're wondering. So the question is, what is the best way to study for nursing classes? So I can't tell you there's a better way or a wrong way to study. It's really what works best for you, and you kind of have to experiment with that from time to time. But for me, the way I work best is if I didn't bring my computer to class and I just brought a notebook, and I would write during lectures with a pen and paper and write, like take my notes, and then I would go home either that day or the day after and print out the PowerPoint and then read it and like write my notes that weren't on the slide on the paper, if that makes sense. And then like later in the week I would like read my notes and just read them, or sometimes I would rewrite them because that helps with me like rewriting things and reading things, and I have to read things out loud when I talk with my hands, in case you noticed. So for me, it was taking the notes by pen and paper and then reviewing my notes to at least either that night or the day after having lecture, and then continuing to review them even though like the exam was in 4 weeks, just so I could get used to that. I didn't make flashcards. I didn't think flashcards helped. There was way too much material to put on a flashcard, and I didn't really know how to like put that on a flashcard either. And the only other thing I did was my school used ATI nursing for our like questions and modules. I don't really know how to explain it, but they gave us little prep books, and in the prep books they had questions, so I would review there. They had like a brief summary of what we were learning, and then they would have questions, so I would do those questions as well as the questions in the back of my book. And it's just kind of good practice to see if you actually remember what you're learning and can apply that knowledge. So that's kind of like my suggestion. I think I wrote a post on how to study or how I studied during nursing school. If not, I'll update it or do another one for sure. Let's see. I think there's one more question. Do you have any advice for us RN students that are graduating this December? Time is flying by all of a sudden. Time does fly by. I will admit that. I look back now and think, oh my god, I graduated from college when I feel like I just applied or just moved in, and it's such a weird feeling. But for those of you who are just graduating or about to graduate soon, congratulations, that's such a huge accomplishment. And my suggestion would be to start doing practice questions for the NCLEX, or find a study book or look into getting a prep course that works for you. I personally use Kaplan, and only Kaplan, well, with the help of the Saunders Comprehensive NCLEX RN examination book. And so that's what I did. But I know people who use like UWorld and had really good success, or did Hearst and had good success. So finding a course that really fits with the amount of money you're willing to spend at the time you have available is a good thing to do. It's never too early to plan. And then to start working on questions now. There's always free questions out there that you can Google and find to do, or look in your textbooks or whatever your school provides and do the questions through there. It's always a great thing to do. So I hope that answers some of the basic questions you had for me, and maybe give you a little bit more insight onto who I am. If you guys like this type of thing, or like seeing me on the video, maybe this is something I can do more of or experiment with. I guess it's just something to decide for in the future. So let me know in the comments, or shoot me an email, or just message me on Instagram. It's all the same to me. Alright guys, I'll talk to you later.